right, so let's go to stock highlight for this week. So every week we're going to be highlighting at least one stock. In this case, we're starting with Image Plus because we would have done their earnings call recently. So we have a deeper context with this company than we would have with most. So we'll just go through the highlights and then we'll talk about the outlook for the company really, which is really the focus of this segment, and that will be based on just the outlook that was shared by the CEO at the recent earnings call. All right, so Image Plus has been on the market for a little over a year now, has not seen much growth, meaning the all-time high is $2.60. Their IPO was $2, but it's been trading mostly around, as you can see, that kind of $2 mark, right? So at some point in July, it went as high as $2.60. And then it's found its way back close to around the IPO price. That's where it's been trading for a while. And of course, there has been questions at the earnings calls, AGM, etc., about the share price. And then of course, the company would have just mentioned their thoughts on that. If you want to see those, be sure to check out those interviews. All right. In terms of the company, they released their third quarter results a while back. So that's what we did the earnings call for. So they're able to do $869 million in 9 months. All right, so that's close to that $1 billion mark again. And so it seems to me at least that they're likely to surpass that for the year. And that's something to look forward to as a junior market company. They do have a tax break, so the profit before tax and net profits are going to be the same for a number of years. And their earnings per share stands at 13 cents. And as I said, the stock price kind of hovers around, between that kind of $1.90 to $2.05 mark most weeks. And then of course, this is expected to likely change over time. In terms of their assets, $1.5 billion, now they would have acquired or made the steps to acquire a new location. That's going to be talked about shortly. And so that move by them seems to be an investment in infrastructure. They've launched a new modality recently in terms of the MRI. They do have ownership into another MRI company, but they've taken the steps to do their own at their Ocho Rios location. And so this seems to be the company's kind of strategy to build out their modalities similar to what they would have shared in their prospectus. And then they seem to try to focus on particular points within the island where they can serve the most clients, or at least that's the impression that we get from what they've done so far. And so the focus will be for the next few months to maybe a year or so on building out the new location. They did mention potentially needing to raise funds for that and so on. And there has been talks of looking at opportunities for inorganic growth. And of course, you're going to see that interview shortly. In terms of just some information about the company, market cap stands at $2.42 billion, and the shares outstanding currently is 1.2 billion. So a lot of shares outstanding so far. I haven't gotten the impression as to how they would be seeking to raise additional capital as yet, should they need to do that. So we'll see how this, how the market cap or the shares outstanding change with anything that may come. All right, so let's look at the interview with Keisha Anderson, CEO of Image Plus.
I think that what we have demonstrated as an entity is that we were able to manage through the challenge of the CT machine being down. Yes, it did impact our revenue numbers, but I think because of the experience of our combined team, you would have noted that the impact was managed and we prepared ourselves for what I would call, for lack of a better word, a recovery period when all our machines were back up and running and modalities on full offer. Outside of that, I would say that the future continues to be very, very bright. So given what we have achieved thus far and what we have left to do, the areas of focus would be on one, looking at the property at 33 LMR. We prepared a brief in terms of what we require and the square footage that we require to offer services, not just now, but looking at growth for the future. And so we shared that with architect, and we have received a design. So we'll continue to finalize those designs and determine any approvals that we require, and to also look at the different opportunities that are open to us to actually now develop that property. We're not at this time thinking that we're going to do it by ourselves, but what is very clear is that the property being ours would represent an important stake in that project and would ensure that our goal of owning our home for our 3A Winchester Road location, as well as for our headquarter operations, would be realized. We also are looking at the implementation of the MRI modality. So it being put in for February, we'll now look at what we need to do to ensure that we grow it in keeping with our projections and ensure that our marketing team is on the road advising people that it is now here. You may recall, our shareholders, that we actually have a 30% stake in WMRI, which is in Kingston, but this is now going to be our 100% owned MRI facility in Ocho Rios. And we chose that location strategically based on the offerings in that area and the surrounding communities and the opportunities that exist based on the demand for that service, and to provide that kind of imaging for doctors and their patients in that area. And then we are also examining some opportunities that have come across our what I call purview, to look at ways that we can grow inorganically. So organic growth would be growth from us just word of mouth, increasing our number of patients, our marketing team going out there, we're giving good service so that the word of mouth of our patients tell other family members to come and try us out. Because we do know that even though a patient may get a referral form from their doctor with the test to be done, even if it's another entity, patients call around and they check prices and they take advice from those that they trust. So we grow organically that way, but we're going to look at our inorganic growth opportunities, because we did indicate at a high level we wanted to look at expanding our footprint. And so if those opportunities present themselves, as a few are now, we're going to examine them in the best interest of our company and you, our shareholders.
Right. So you got that, sort of context from Keisha just now, as I mentioned, and a few things that may be in the pipeline for them. Looking forward to how things progress there.